So I want to speak with you about allowing your goals and desires, your dreams to evolutionize themselves, to be able to expand. A lot of times we are frustrated because certain things haven't come into fruition. But one of the things I've learned and observed throughout my journey is that a lot of times the evolution of our desires need to come forth. And we're looking at what we initially thought we wanted and looking for it to manifest a certain way. And sometimes then there's delays around it, and some of those delays are very divine. And the reason for that is because what we receive in what I call conception, in the sense of the seed of an idea or a seed of a desire, the seed is not the tree or the fruit, all right? It has an encoding within it that brings forth something else. So an example is an acorn. An acorn has the encoding of an oak tree. So that would be the evolution of that desire of the seed, is of the acorn, so to speak, is that when it is planted and nurtured, then we have the outcome, of an oak tree. But sometimes we're still at seed level desire, and we're wanting to make the seed be the end all be all. And that's just not how it works. Sometimes you will grow in a certain environment, or your desire will incubate in a certain environment, but then it has to be transplanted. So if you think about anyone who's done potting, like flowers or even gardening, and sometimes that garden or that flower within that pot, it becomes so expansive with the roots that container can no longer contain, so to speak, the growth. And so before it busts through, the pot, it needs to be transplanted. And some of you don't realize that you've already busted through the pots, the soil and the roots that grew within a certain container have already really expanded, but you haven't transplanted that into the bigger field. And so that's something you're going to have to look at, is that your desires and dreams and goals have an evolutionary encoding. And you have to allow that desire to expand and evolve. And again, because what you received in, again, the conception of an idea, it pales in comparison to what is actually emerging, what actually wants to come forth. So you just can't, mistake that. You can look at something in ultrasound, like in an ultrasound way, and see, okay, this is what is showing here, and we know this is what we have, but that baby is going to grow, right? And what is in incubation or in the womb is not what's going to be what comes out. And what I mean, that's not going to be the experience that's lived. It's incubated there, but when it's born, now it comes into a different environment, and now it's ready for that environment where it can grow and expand and become, a teen, an adult, at some point. So you have to be able to see your goals, your dreams, your desires. You have to be able to be in touch with the evolution of them, even if you don't know exactly what that looks like. Just don't containerize based on, I had this business goal, I had this life goal. And again, you receive it in as a seed of conception. But now, what is the germination process? What is actually emerging? What is the evolutionary encoding? So I want you to be mindful about that. Just get present. You don't have to overthink this, but just look and say, wow, some of my desires have not come to fruition yet. And maybe there's a reason. Some of them may still be in incubation stage, but some of the ones that you've had that have been more long-standing and you haven't seen them come into fruition. So just start asking, am I really in touch with the evolution of my desire, the evolution of the expansiveness of this divine thing that wants to come forward? So you really have to look at it in that way. So that's just something that I want you to really sit with and to think about, is that, take a second look, take another examination, and make sure that what you're looking at versus what wants to come forth, you have to be able to be in alignment with that. So that's just food for thought.